in a major breakthrough, India and the US on Sunday reached a consensus on how to take forward the stalled civil nuclear deal by agreeing on a commercial cooperation and reaching a commitment to resolve a lot of the legal differences that were there due to this particular deal. To find out more about that and what kind of opportunity it throws up, we have Mr. M.V. Kotwal, the whole-time director and president, Heavy Engineering at L&T, who joins us on the phone line. Mr. Kotwal, good morning and thank you for joining us. In the break we were just talking about what the insurance legalities would be, and as per some of the deal details, at least the news reports, suggestions are that there will be an insurance pool set up led by General Insurance Company and 4 other insurance companies of about 750 crores, and the liabilities would be sort of discussed within that itself. But we don't have any clarity on what exactly this would bring about. So do you have any more details or clarity on how the insurance part of this would be sorted out?
Unfortunately not yet, but whatever discussions we had earlier with GIC also led us to believe that they would cover 750 crores and the balance would be sovereign guarantee by the government. But that was before this whole discussion that has taken place between our Prime Minister and President Obama. So after that, we know that there's an understanding reached, but the clarity on exactly how this insurance pool will work, how it will be contributed to, and whether it will be actually applicable to all the suppliers is something which we are awaiting clarification for.
Lata?
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Kotwal, was that the only problem? Once you hear from on the insurance angle, you think the orders can come in?
Well, there are a few other things which are also very important, because you see that the famous clause 17, the 3 parts to it, which were independently applicable in the Act as it stands. Then there was this question of rules which were given a year later, the rules, rule number 24, which was contentious. And then the last part was a clause 46 of the Act, which really talks about various other laws of the country, including law of tort. Now, the major problem has been that before all this happened, before this Civil Nuclear Liability Nuclear Damages Act came into the picture, we were completely, as suppliers, indemnified against all, including the law of torts.
Okay.
So now the question is whether clause 46, how that is going to be dealt with, is not yet clear to us. And as far as rule number 24, which actually gave some kind of a limit to the upper as a cap of the liability, whether that is at all valid was not clear. So these clarifications are yet to emerge. I only believe that since there has been such at an apex level an understanding on this whole subject, and the government already was aware of all these problems which we had faced, because we have been bringing this to the notice of the government at various levels. So I presume that the agreements would be in that right direction. I can't say with complete clarity until we see the actual agreement itself. But I believe that this is a step in the right direction, and therefore we are hopeful that this will open up huge opportunities for Indian manufacturers.
What was Rule 17 then?
Well, 17 had 3 parts to it, and they were A, B, and C. And then each was independently applicable. The first being whether A was whether it forms part of the contract itself. B was the contentious one where there was a recovery or a compensation which could be sought from suppliers, whether there's a patent or latent defect. Now, these are things which were never applicable in any other international kind of agreement. So this was completely only for Indian suppliers, and therefore, naturally, we had sort of raised our point that this particular thing should not be applicable. But then this is what really was the bone of contention also for all foreign suppliers. So now that there has been some understanding reached with especially the American suppliers, or rather at least the government has said so, we will then have to now wait for clarification. You would also have seen that even one of the CEOs of the American companies has also said that he needs to have a little more clarity on the subject, but he believes that the step is in the right direction.
I suppose you're referring to Westinghouse, but this means a lot of holes still remain. I mean, the law of torts could apply. You're not very clear how much the insurance will cover and whether you still remain indemnified, whether private companies would be indemnified, and you are not even sure about the recovery clauses. This is quite a handful of ambushes that are still there. I mean, what does it take? Normally a year to resolve this?
No, basically, once the Act has been passed in Parliament, any amendment to the Act will again have to go back to the Parliament, if at all that is the solution. But if there's another solution found of giving clarifications to some of these apprehensions that we have had and some of the clauses, then possibly this could be a step ahead. Now, which mechanism the government will follow, we have to wait and see. Yeah. Because basically these facts have been brought to the notice of the government by suppliers individually as well as collectively through industry forums like FICCI and all. But we have to now await the actual reactions to each of these clauses.
So in terms of a timeline, Mr. Kotwal, realistically, how long would it take for orders to actually come in? And for a company like L&T, what could the defense potential be in terms of order winning, etc.?
Actually, L&T as a company is very uniquely poised and very well positioned for tackling a very large part of this whole nuclear sector. The reason is that apart from our capabilities in project management and all that for handling the EPC contracts, we have the capability to manufacture a very wide range of equipment, including the main reactors, reactor pressure vessels, the steam generators, pressurizers, and so on, and extending right up to the very precise control rod mechanisms. We have got a track record of doing all this for our Indian program. In addition, we have got this capability for doing electricals, valves, control and automation, and of course the major thing of completely setting up the civil, mechanical and electrical construction part of it. So with this, in fact, L&T is the only Indian company to have such a wide spectrum of established capability. Now the thing is, you talked about the timeline. Basically, as far as these things are concerned, one requires a lot of investment in large workshops and capability amongst the technical staff and workmen. And this L&T over the years has already established. In fact, we have made major expansions at our Hazira facility to accommodate the large reactors and pressure vessels. We have also put in place this unique heavy forging facility at Hazira, which is a joint venture with NPCIL. Now that again is completely equipped and it is operational for manufacture of the very critical alloy steel heavy forgings required for pressure vessels and so on. So this is a unique facility in India and the only one capable of this kind of heavy forging production. Now as a combination, therefore, we have got this unique capability of integrating the whole thing. We can start with scrap steel on one side and end up with completed nuclear reactors or steam generators on the other. So that's the kind of integrated capability we have already established at Hazira. Apart from that, we have got Coimbatore precision machining and all that. So they are very well poised, and therefore the foreign players also have recognized this, and they believe that we can have a useful partnership.
Okay, so if you can just give us some numbers, Mr. Kotwal, how much does the defense business contribute to at this point in time? How much do you think it could grow to, say, in the next 3 to 5 years? And what are the total orders that you currently have in hand?
You're talking about defense now?
Yes.
Are you talking? Yeah. Okay, so basically in the defense area, we have over the years established this capability through DRDO. So we were making prototype systems. So order volumes were not very high until recently, when now we are getting into the actual production, the defense production kind of equipment. So we have been of the doing revenues of the order of $400 to $500 million, but then it is going to see a step jump in the next few years. The reason being, we've already put in place bids for very major programs for the artillery and of course also for the naval warships and so on. Now, if some of these, of course, will fructify, and therefore we believe that this will be really a kind of fructification of a lot of efforts we have put in all these years. The other reason is that we have put in place all the investments required, apart from what I did mention about Hazira for the heavy fabrication. But apart from that, we have got a huge facility in the south, the new shipyard we have put up. That shipyard itself, and along with its adjacent port and so on, we have spent about 4,000 crores in that investment. And that is something where we are capable of doing. In fact, that facility is ideally set up for warships and submarines and the like. So, because of these investments already put in place, workmen and technical manpower already trained, we believe that this can see a step jump. So we believe in the next 3 or 4 years, we should reach anyway 1 billion and then go up to 2 to 3 billion immediately, maybe in the next 5 years. So that's the kind of growth we expect in the defense segment.
Leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us with those details. So not much progress as far as nuclear is concerned. A lot of legal issues have still to be sorted out. Let's not count our chicken before they hatch, before the eggs hatch. But defense, yes, clearly progress is being made in terms of orders.